Sir Topham Hatt had bought 4 new engines from the other railway, 3 with names, 1 with just a number. The 3 with names were Gordon, Eagle, and Brandon, better known by his number 98462. Gordon and Brandon were rude and cocky, and thought that they were too modern to pull goods trains, while Eagle did whatever job he was assigned to, without fuss. The other engine didn't have a name, only a number, 87546. Now 87546 was not like most engines. He never said anything to anyone, and always did his jobs with a frown on his face. The other engines thought nothing of this. They were just thankful he was not rude or cocky like Gordon and Brandon. All, that is, except Edward. "You know," Brandon said one night, "each of these engines is useless in their own ways. But us, we are important express engines. We're too important to shunt like Thomas or Edward over there. And I have to get started about the 87546. He never even talks to any of us." Thomas was about to retort, but Edward gave him a look. Edward wanted to help 87546 as well, but he didn't know how. Fortunately, he'd get his chance sooner than expected. The long goods train needed to go to the other end of the line. Gordon and Brandon refused to move, so Sir Topham Hatt asked Henry and 87546 to take the train. However, Henry was having trouble steaming up, so Sir Topham Hatt asked Edward to help. Edward was delighted. The 2 engines made very good time, and the journey went smoothly. When they got to the big station at the end of the line, it was already noon, so they decided to sleep at Vickerstown sheds. All was silent until Edward started to talk. "What a nice run, wouldn't you agree?" 87546 said nothing. "Well, at least we get a rest now." Edward tried again. Again, 87546 said nothing. Edward sighed. 87546, why don't you talk to us? Me, Henry, Thomas, and Eagle would love to have another engine to talk to at night." 87546 glanced at Edward and looked away again. "Because I thought you would be like the engines on my old line." Edward was taken aback. He was not expecting 87546 to respond so quickly. "I would do most of the goods work," because they thought that goods trains were for engines who had no purpose. They would always make fun of me and never let me sleep in the shed. They would hiss at me every chance they got. And the worst part is that Brandon was the main face of it all. We used to work on the same line, but he was a much different engine for the first couple of days. He would do any job he wanted and would always keep my company when the others were rude to me. But their attitude soon got to his smokebox, and he became the main face of all the drama I faced. Now, I don't know if I should trust anyone because I don't want the same thing to happen again." This time Edward stayed silent for a while. "I am sorry that happened to you," Edward started. "I would never do anything like that. Same with Thomas, Henry, and Eagle. We know how it feels to be looked down on, so we would never do the same to you." "Thank you, Edward," 87546 started. "It means a lot that you would say that." "Friends?" the old engine asked. "I don't think I am ready for that yet." "What about allies? How does that sound?" I think it sounds perfect, Edward chuckled. But we better get back to the big station now for our other jobs. Come on. Edward and 87546 puffed off, and their journey back was very quiet. But Edward swears he saw his new allies smile. Or a little bit, anyways.